And from there, go ahead and use edge selection, the little line next to the little surface, and move each of the edges around so they're kind of angled, so they kind of sit right underneath the bottom of his pant leg. We're going to kind of angle his shoe, kind of like if you're wearing a normal pair of shoes. Reference your picture. It does looks a little bit like a curved, kind of slanted, basically like smushed cylinder in this case. And we'll just do a little bit of manipulation, get a nice little curve off the front and around the sides. It's going to take a little bit of time, so be patient and just work at it. You'll see the results as they come along. When you're done, go ahead and color it black and then rename it shoes, or right shoe, left shoe if you prefer to do it that way. Do your symmetry to the opposite side using the symmetry command. Clicking the ZX plane, will copy it over. Okay. To get Max outsole on his shoes, go ahead and copy one of your shoes, paste it, and go ahead and rename it your outsole. Make sure while it's selected, translate it downward, so it says just underneath the top part of his shoes. Use your infinity command, scale it out a little bit, and then use a little bit of manipulation to make it look a bit proportional to the rest of his shoes. Reference your picture, and do a little bit of adjusting, so it doesn't look too much like he's wearing a pair of sandals, but it doesn't look like he's wearing a pair of ice skates, or it looks like he has hooves. To get the little outside, the inner stripe, modify the inside edges so that you actually should see a little small little stripe of white popping through the black part of his shoes. This may take a little bit of time to mess with. So reference your picture, move your edges around, and you should get something pretty similar to how his shoes look. Also, be sure to rename your soles and use the symmetry command to duplicate to the opposite side. Good.
Okay, next thing we're going to do is click on pants, and then click on point selection, and that way we can go ahead and pull down those individual points on the bottom of the cuff of his pant to where it drapes over his shoe. Now we only need to do it on one side, because once we exit out of this, it will reflect that on his other pant leg as well.
Next to the symmetry command. So. Alright, so we need to round off the bottom of Mac's shoes. What we're going to do is at the top bar, click on Edge Fillet. It'll pull up the little Edge Fillet menu. Select the bottom edge of Mac's outsole, and then type in a really small radius, probably like maybe 0.03, maybe 0.04 inches, kind of depends on what your units are. Do that, click Preview, and you'll see a quick preview of his outsole being rounded off. Do the same thing for the other side.
Okay, next step is let me create his undershirt, which is probably some sort of thermal. But we'll do this by using the torus command. So you can just go ahead and translate to whichever side you'd like to work on first, with left to right.
Then use the cut by plane command. You'll need to do this at least only once so that we cut the torus in half so that we have one side for our sleeve. So pick the side you want to use. It'll turn gray. It'll turn gray signifying which side you're actually going to keep. Click the little check mark to confirm, and we'll have basically a half donut. I actually cut it twice on this one just for my own purposes. You already need to do this once. So then take the chopped up torus, manipulate it by clicking the little cage icon and using translation, and move it close to whichever sleeve you want to work with. From there, double click. From there, use the manipulation tool so that you can actually move the top of the cut open torus so that's inside his t-shirt sleeve, and the bottom so that it stays relatively proportional. Additionally, you may want to use the affinity command on the at the midsection so that your elbow doesn't actually extend outside of the width of Mac's t-shirt. And when you're done, go ahead, name it undershirt sleeve, color it white in the graphic tab, and then once again we'll use the symmetry command to put it on over to the opposite side. Click on the undershirt sleeve, click on symmetry, and then click the ZX plane to copy across to the opposite side. Alright, next we're going to work on his hair. Use the extrude command, and this time click on the little bottom lip that we created when we first punched out the little chunks of hair from his head. And do the same thing again to those same locations where you extruded the first time. Should look something like this. A little helmet with a little lower half of Mac's face. Confirm that, and don't make any extra tufts. You don't want to make anything a little too complicated. And you'll have basically a simple outside shape for Mac's hair.
After we extrude his hair down lower on his face, we'll go ahead and create another cylinder, and then we'll manipulate it, just that front face, to where it looks like a lock of one of his of hair that goes over his forehead. So we'll keep doing that until it gets a pretty good shape, and then we'll go ahead and deselect it, select the whole shape, and just use translation command and push that down or into his face to where it sticks out a little bit and looks like one of those locks of hair.
From there, you may make some small adjustments so that it kind of sits where the locks sit on his face. Reference your picture. This will be very helpful. And when you've kind of gotten into a nice spot, use the attraction command. It looks kind of like a little point with a little curve in it. And what that will do is it will actually round off all those sharp edges to make a very kind of rounded off figure so that it kind of blends in a little bit with the curvature of his head. Go ahead, also rename this the inner lock or inner tuft of hair, whatever you may use for this. And then go ahead and copy that, paste it, and then slide it over. So slide it further out so that you have the second lock of hair that kind of drifts out from the center. And probably adjust that to a certain location. You may, if you want to adjust, how it looks, you can also do that as well. Then use the symmetry command and do this twice for the inside lock and the outer lock as well. You'll have a similar looking bit of hair for Mac's face.